just talking a little bit about this Oregon-Indiana game on a Thursday. We'll talk more about it with Josh Pate, who, as we noted, didn't get to it Tuesday at all for his previews. Says he's going to get to it today, and I believe him on that.
We'll get the first look at his preview of the game.
Yes, we will, an early peekaboo. Game day's going to be here, but I just think there is truth to it. It doesn't mean you're not interested or the Duck fans locally here aren't fired up for these opportunities. It's just, I don't know. The nation is not, it's not capturing the country, this Indiana situation. I think it's far more Indiana than it is Oregon because we know Oregon has established their reputation. I went and looked at Indiana football.
Dude, it's
dark.
It's dark.
They are
How many 10-win seasons do they have in the history of their program?
So they're almost 200 games below 500 as an existing program.
Yes.
Like in their entire history, which started in
long time ago, man.
1899.
Swag was 14, dude.
14-year-old Swigart in 1899.
All of it play out.
Has been through 127 seasons of Indiana football.
My Benjamin Buttons.
And they are almost 200 games below 500. Here's a fun fact for you, because you just asked an important question. Last year, they were 11-2.
11-2. 11-1 in the regular season, lost in the playoffs to Notre Dame.
11-2, right? You ask, that's pretty good for them, and you're 100% right. Prior to 1967, Indiana football had not won more than 8 games.
Yeah.
And if you're asking, oh, well, what were they like pre-1967, Sprague? I'll say, good question, Bob. They had never won more than 9. That literally was their greatest season in program history.
That tells you all you need to know. That's why there's not a lot of juice on this game. If they win this game, I think people open their eyes up to Indiana.
Antoine Randall L. days.
No, they only won 8 or less prior.
Lee Corso is a legend for them. He wasn't even that good when he was there. It was winning like 6 or 7 games a year.
Yeah, Indiana football is an absolute disaster. Now, here's another thing on Cignetti, because he is the one thing that kind of keeps me to say, how is this game going to unfold? Mm-hmm. He himself in his press conference told you they got a massive advantage up front. And that's not a secret. Everybody in the country knows this about Oregon at this point. I'm more just curious to see the schematics of this.
Sure.
How's it going to look? How can he find an edge? He kept referencing that in his press conference. Got to find the edge. Got to find the edge. Kurt Cignetti, as a college football coach, both in D1 and D2, he is 135-37.
It's a hell of a record, man.
This dude,
he wins. Google him.
Absolutely. Yeah, Google him and read about him. He's an unbelievable story. He is somebody that for most of his entire career, nobody's given him any recognition to.
No.
But he's a winner.
He's very similar to DeBoer in that way, where it was a lot of years at lower levels where you're just racking up wins and wins and wins and wins and wins, and it takes you a while. I know he's older, a little bit older than DeBoer, but you look at their all-time career records, and they're hilariously insane.
I mean, he was the PSAC Coach of the Year in 2012, don't you know?
I mean, how do you not?
I mean, the Pennsylvania... What is it? The Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference Coach of the Year. How do you not know that?
I was at the awards banquet, man.
And I learned that because I Googled him. Okay?
Yeah.
So Kurt Cignetti is an interesting part, but Indiana football, I mean, there is just nothing of no. You know Michael Penix went there.
Yeah.
You know that Antoine Randall L. went there.
Yep.
Nate Sudfeld had some success in the passing department. Other than that, Lee Corso, and that's about it, buddy.
That's about it. The tough part, too, is they can't even, I mean, they can claim Penix, but Penix was, I mean, we all remember him as a Husky.
And in that regard,
more than we will a Hoosier. Like, he might be their best player ever, and he did his best stuff in a different uniform.
And in that regard, there's nothing to be gained by the Ducks chirping.
No, I mean, there's nothing. No, Oregon's not going to do that.
Oregon will never chirp. Oregon will never chirp to any ranked opponent in the Dan Lanning era.
No, they won't do it to anybody.
Well, they'll chirp, but it depends. Like, what was the kid that chirped at the little brother Oregon State stuff?
Oh, was it Jerry Mixon that said that?
Jerry Mixon, he's basically going to whoop their ass, brother.
If there's any chirping, it's going to be
pretty safe chirping that
It's going to be the Huskies, it's going to be USC, it's going to be Ohio State, something like that, where there is nothing to be gained by any chirping in this regard.
Well, I mean, to your point on the size, that to me is one of the biggest stories of this entire game. I mentioned the Indiana games last year that we saw when they played Ohio State and Notre Dame. The biggest difference was where. It was at the line of scrimmage, right?
Yeah.
And they had good skill players, and Rourke was a good quarterback. I think they've upgraded in a lot of areas this year, and I don't even feel like their composite talent ranking is fair. Like they have gone about finding guys. Use their starting running back as an example.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 6th-year guy. Like they go and find, like he was at Maryland. He was really good, but he's played a ton of college football. Very experienced group. They haven't played a ton together because some of these guys are new and portaling in, but it's guys who have seen a lot. Even Mendoza was, what, a 2 or 3 year starter at Cal? Like he's played a lot of snaps. He started against Oregon before. He started against Dante Moore at UCLA. That's how long he's been around. So he's played a lot of football. That's kind of you see that up and down their roster. So I think to look at the composite ranking, it's not totally fair because some of these guys were not big deals coming out of high school, but when you play 5 or 6 years of college football, you're experienced and you could bring something to the table. The biggest question, I think, in this game, and it will be the case for a lot of these teams, I thought we talked about this when Washington played Ohio State, when Nebraska played Michigan, that you can make noise in the non-conference and you can look good, but when you go against a team that's just simply bigger and stronger than you at the point of attack, can you actually win? The average weight of the defensive line at Indiana is 279 pounds. That's the average weight of their defensive line. The average weight of Oregon's offensive line is 325 pounds. That is an average weight difference of 46 pounds. Now, that's not the end-all, be-all. Indiana's defensive line is incredibly disruptive. They love using slants and stunts. They create a ton of tackles for loss. They can get into the backfield. But can they hold up for 4 quarters with a 46-pound weight differential is the biggest question to me in this game. If they can, Mendoza might be the number 1 pick in the draft. He might be the best quarterback in the game this weekend, and they can absolutely hang around. That is the ultimate question that we have to answer about Indiana, is when you go toe-to-toe against a beefy offensive line and a beefy defensive line, can you push them around and can you handle your own?
There's a really good piece on Mendoza and Moore and how they've been the 2 best quarterbacks in the sport this year, and it largely is like anonymous scouts and coaches that have watched both of them play and said they're perfect for their system and they do exactly what they need to do, which is why their profile has been so elevated. I kind of look at this and Oregon winning by 20 is not going to have me on the couch going, whoa. But if this game is close, I actually think it's not just going to be schematically what does Cignetti and company find for their offense against that defense. It's also going to be a little bit of like, oh, Dante had a tip pass picked or Dante read something incorrectly. Like, it's going to be something, a fumble. Like,
you could get pouring down rain that could create weird chaos in this game
because
as well.
What did we see in the Oregon-Penn State game? Like, the thinnest of margins in a comeback is Noah Whittington's knee. Is it down or not down?
Yeah.
Because sometimes those change things, right? So
DeCorian Moore had a ball go through his hands that probably should have been picked,
and then it went through that guy's hands, and then he caught it. Yeah, so
8-yard gain.
Sometimes it's weird stuff. I want to ask you, I cannot find, my hardest part in Indiana is also, I cannot find a comp, right? Like, you can give me programs that elevate, like Clemson being a national title contender.
Like, Clemson was already good.
They were Clemsoning, right? They were really good, but they could never break through, and then they broke through. It's really hard to find this. The only one that I can think of is actually a team doing it right now, Vandy. But Vandy had a couple seasons with Franklin where you're like, oh, it's a pretty respectable program.
Yeah.
Vandy now might be on the doorstep of being Indiana in the SEC of they win 10 games, they go to the playoff, and they can't hang, but they're really feisty. I can't find a comp in my life of a team that was this profile that is now this profile.
I can't think of. I mean, we've seen like a TCU come out of nowhere and go to a title game, but TCU's been a good program for a long time. That was out of nowhere for them to get to the championship game.
Yeah.
That was rare, but that wasn't like they were a doormat of college football.
That's what Indiana has been
for 100+ years.
Yeah.
They have been nothing. So to your point, I don't know if there's a comp out there that we've seen a team go from 0 to 100 so quickly.
Yeah.
Even Vandy, like you can say Vandy's building that. Vandy was 7-5 last year. So they're making noise in the SEC. The schedule is more challenging, so that's part of it. But they're building into something. Indiana went from nothing to going 11-1 last year.
Yeah.
And that's very, very rare to do in the sport.
And I found kind of the narrative talking points of them funny because they handled their patsies of the Big Ten schedule portion.
Mm-hmm.
I found it funny that we used that as a knock against him when 0 people knew who Kurt Cinetti was.
Oh, I'd never heard of him before.
Or even thought Indiana was going to be a bowl team, let alone what they were.
Yeah.
But then when they became it was like, well, they're not playing anybody. It's like, did you know anything about Indiana?
Right.
Like, how about we give Indiana some credit for not being the patsy winning against patsies? They were a juggernaut against the patsies. I think him and Lanning, I think you make a strong argument they've been the best portal coaches in the last 2 years.
I mean, it's hard to disagree for sure. And Indiana has had to lean on it more because they don't have the recruiting profile that Oregon does. So it's been far more important to them. And the other part of them this year is like, they're going to have their cracks at it, man. Like they had to play only one of the elite teams in the Big Ten last year, and Ohio State didn't go well for them. They're on the road at Oregon this weekend. They got a chance to make noise. I know everybody's out on Penn State, but that's still a very talented roster, and we'll see how the rest of their years goes. They go to Penn State in a couple of weeks, like in a month. They're on the road at Penn State.
Where's Penn State going to be?
Where are they going to be
right?
at? Like they got chances here to make some noise and win one of these games. And I think the longer they stick around and the more they can prove themselves in games like this, the more juice they're going to have.